Hi, so first of all, thank you very much for all the support I got yesterday on yesterday's video. That really made me feel way better. I was feeling really down. But also, I managed to get my program back. Took a bit of hacking, but hey, I got it back. That's cool. Also, I got my templates back, so I managed to give you guys this video. And by the way, this might be the last episode for the story, so enjoy. 2 weeks passed. Harry and Draco had been avoiding the topic completely. They talked from time to time, but both guys just tried to enjoy summer on their own. Draco was a bit antisocial when it came to people living around him, so he just stuck to himself while Harry built some connections with the people living in the neighborhood. He'd go to the lake with a couple of guys and he'd enjoy the surroundings on his own. Draco would do what he usually did every summer, which was sit in his room and read. Sure, he may have bullied some people back at school for being bookworms and acted like he didn't have a care in the world for books, but he really enjoyed reading dark arts books just for fun. He'd practice some spells, just passing time. He did go out sometimes, but not very often. The parents didn't really care about Draco, or his interests, so seeing that the guys weren't doing so well among each other didn't bother them a single bit, because that meant more peace and quiet in the house. The only time Draco and Harry really ever saw each other was during mealtime, in the mornings and evenings, and when they'd accidentally cross paths on a walk outside. Don't get me wrong, they did talk, they socialized, but not too much because Harry was intimidated and Draco's head was too far up his own ass to apologize. Eventually, though, one day on a walk, their paths crossed again. It was a hot evening. Despite the setting sun, the air was still difficult to breathe. There were crickets chiming somewhere in the patches of the tall, dry grass that grew in between the rocks. The trees weren't rustling, as there was little to no wind, not even a breeze. The dirt beneath their feet was coarse and dry, creating soft scraping sounds as they walked. Coming around at an intersection, they stopped. Harry faced Draco, who'd come out around the other side of the large house. After some standing still and staring, together they turned onto a joined path. It was as if they both agreed that it was about time they had a talk. They walked on somewhere. They didn't know where, but they just walked. It was silent for a while. Everything besides the scraping of shoes over the uneven dirt path. They were hoping to say something to each other, but neither looked ready to speak. Both still formulating what they were going to say. As they walked on, they'd reached a ledge and sat on it. It wasn't a big one. If your knees were strong enough, you could jump it and continue further down a hill. But that ledge was enough for them. Harry picked up a blade of dry grass and put it in his mouth, starting to chew on it as he pulled apart the tight-knit fibers apart with his teeth. So, did I hurt you that bad? Draco asked, looking over at Harry. The brunette's emerald eyes just scanned the field below them, moving further and further down to avoid looking up at Draco. He just didn't want to. Draco shifted his position, turning his body a bit to face the guy. Harry, did I or did I not? Harry's eyes found their way back up at the sky, where he noticed some dark clouds coming up from behind a mountain. It was silent for a bit before he sighed and decided to speak. Draco, you should really watch what you say, you know? You can lose people like that. Draco couldn't help but get a bit defensive again. What did I say that got you so butthurt that you didn't talk to me for 2 fucking weeks? Harry tensed up a bit. You called me a tease and said that I was leading you on and everything was my fault, that you didn't get to have the fun you thought you were going to have. You had expectations. I didn't meet them, and I actually started to work backwards, and instead of hearing me, understanding me, just because you happened to be the guy who I was doing stuff with when I realized that I didn't like certain things, you took it too close to heart. You got butthurt about it, and you didn't put any effort into talking to me either. If it was such a big problem for you that I didn't talk to you, you should have done something because from what I can tell, you were just being stubborn, and I genuinely didn't enjoy your company. Draco looked so done. After a long pause, he decided to speak again. His voice was a little more broken. He was speaking with pauses as he tried to really formulate his words well. Harry, I don't think you understand how much it hurts when someone you care about, someone you trusted with your body and weaknesses, tells you that after doing things with you, of all people, with no red flags coming up before and no warning signs along the way, just says that they don't want to do anything because they're scared. Do you know what that does to a person? I'm sitting here strongly believing that I have caused a fear in you, a fear of me, and everything related to what you and I did together. It's like if I cooked you a lasagna, and after eating it, you decided you never wanted to have lasagna again. Like, bro, I'd feel terrible about my cooking, and that recipe specifically, for the rest of my damn life. And I was worried you'd misinterpreted what I was going to do as sexual intent, but it really wasn't. And you sat there telling me it's okay and you understand, but you still acted scared of me like I was about to force sex on you. And I'm sitting here strongly trying to prove that that was not at all my intent, and you got scared over a misunderstanding. It's been eating at me for weeks. Harry stayed focused on the clouds that kept coming closer. Draco, you're not a fucking lasagna. How dumb can you be? Yeah, I understand you got scared, but literally all you had to do, if you were still confused, was ask for clarification. Ask me to break it down. Tell you exactly what I meant and what I had in mind. I'm sorry I scared you. I should have explained better that I really trusted you, and I believe you when you say you didn't have anything sexual in mind. That's fine. I understand. But what happened was, my mind started to wander. What if you did want something? What if you did want sex? Or not you even. It's nothing personal to you. If anything, you're the one guy I trust the most with all of this. But in general, would I be okay with going that far? And I decided, no. I don't know if it's a temporary feeling. Hell knows, maybe one day I'll be brave enough to go all the way, but not now. And I guess what happened 2 weeks ago was a case of poor communication. I was just trying to say that, just in case you ever did want to go that far anytime soon, I'm not ready. Just so you wouldn't get any ideas, because, like you said, yeah, I didn't show any signs of not wanting any of it before, so there was nothing for you to guess even. It all happened so quickly. The clouds had pulled over them, and they got to witness a beautiful rareness. There was strong, heavy summer rain pouring down from the clouds, and as the clouds approached, the wall of rain was coming closer. It was beautiful. It first rained over Draco, then Harry. Looking back, they could see the dried-out dirt path start to quickly fill up in a dark color as the thirsty ground absorbed the rain. Harry and Draco then looked back at each other. It was raining so hard that they were soaked completely within a minute. But they didn't move, because the rain was warm. Finally, there was humidity in the air. It felt like sitting in a warm shower. Harry eased up a bit, and Draco nodded, calming down a bit about his previous fears. And anyways, it's just a little side thing we're testing out. It's no big deal. It's just for fun, yeah? Draco's heart clenched again. He decided not to be a pussy and act on his feelings. He wasn't even sure of them yet. He didn't take time out of his day to really have a deep think about this yet, but he knew the general direction he was heading in. He moved in closer to Harry until their shoulders touched and looked him in the eyes. Not to me, it isn't. I mean, it's fun, yeah, but I don't see this as something we can just throw out. I like what we have going on. Harry maintained eye contact with Draco until he looked down to see Draco's hand move over his. Don't tell me you caught feelings. That's like the #1 rule. You're not supposed to... He was cut off and his mind went blank when he saw Draco start to confidently lean in. He flipped. He didn't know what was about to happen. Well, he knew he was about to be kissed, but why, how, all that was still swirling in his mind, and he was panicking. He closed his eyes, expecting this to be some awkward scene from a romance movie, but then he felt Draco's soft lips on his cheek instead. He was half disappointed, half relieved. Draco then leaned on him, nuzzling himself into the other's neck. I don't know about feelings, but You are a rather peculiar man, Potter. I don't think I'm meant to feel that happy when I cuddle with a friend. Harry just sat there in awe. So, is this a confession then? Or what? What are you trying here? Draco shrugged and closed his eyes. Well, what do you think? Besides, I told you, I'm not sure yet. Harry turned his hand over so that his palm was pressed up against Draco's, closing his hand to interlock their fingers. Draco gladly returned the gesture. Guess we're just two unsure idiots. Draco moved his head up and gave Harry another soft kiss on the cheek, and then another while he spoke in a soft, hushed voice. We go back to school in 3 weeks. Reckon that's enough time to figure it all out. And if not, we have the whole school year as well to figure it out more. Harry nodded slowly and looked up at the sky. Think we should head back inside then? Do some more gay shit and dry off? Draco was in full agreement, so he started to get up, wiping wet dirt off of his thighs. Yeah, sounds like a plan. Even while changing their course of action, their hands never let go. As they walked back to the house, Harry looked down at the hands. He found it cute that Draco didn't let go. Are we not gonna talk about the... No, we're not.